Welcome back to the, I don't know, Granny, we actually lost you. Hang on. There we go. I'll cut that back
What
out.
did you do to me?
I have no idea. Hello and welcome back to the, I'll do it again. I'll cut this out. I'll edit this bit out. Hello and welcome back to the worst reselling podcast ever, which we actually solidified this morning because we can't work out what's going on. We've had a few IT
Yes,
issues today, Granny.
yes. There's a few
Yeah,
things
so
I'm a bit wary as to whether I'm actually showing up or whether I'm not, but I guess we'll find out.
Well, you are showing up now, so I can guarantee
Mm.
you are showing up on my screen, which is the one that's being recorded on, which is fantastic. And I can see, Granny, that looks like you've fallen asleep somewhere and you've woken up at the beach.
I have, yes.
Yeah, I didn't
Yes.
know. I didn't know that my world domination aspirations have taken over Donald and made a beachside paradise. But how you
Mm.
been?
Well, I can hardly hear you, because I'm still experiencing ringing in my ears after experiencing last night what I thought was someone letting off rapid gunfire at the front of my
Mm.
house.
It was the resistance trying to stop my sea creatures from taking over
Yeah,
Donald.
yeah. Like I was just sitting there, and then all of a sudden there was these enormous bangs, and it was like really loud,
Mm.
and
Mm.
I nearly fell out of my chair, and I go out, and they're letting off fireworks across at the showgrounds because we had our local show, and so late in the evening, like it was about 9 o'clock or something, they decided to let off fireworks, and my house is closer to where they let the fireworks off than what the audience would have been. So yeah, it was a bit
Yeah,
loud.
okay. Well, I suppose that, first world problems at the nursing home at Donald by the looks of it.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that's good. And how's your sales been? Since we are a reselling podcast, we might as well ask.
Oh,
We
yeah,
might talk
well,
about eBay this week instead of bitching about other
oh,
YouTubers.
I'll just say, some days are good and some days are shit. And like so Friday, and seems to happen to me every Friday. So I must be in the bucket of people that they
Mm.
start doing work on my buckets on a Friday because nothing. It was a donut day.
Hmm. Yeah, and I had a pretty slow day yesterday as well. And if you are new to reselling or new to us, we kind of, Granny more so than myself, we subscribe to the server theory where basically people are
Mm,
split between one or two, three, four servers, and they put on a rotational basis. Like some days you'll have like fantastic sales, then you go quiet for a couple of days, or you'll have fantastic weeks and go quiet for a week. So
mm,
that has got some credence in the reselling community. I did notice a dip in my sales this week, but that could be because I'm moving into new niches, which I spoke about Friday night on the live as
yeah.
well. So generally, if you are sourcing products, especially if you are sourcing into new niches that you don't know the sell-through rate, you might have a decline in sales for a couple of weeks until everything catches up. So
Mm,
it
mm.
could be anything, or you could be just not
Well,
listing
you
enough.
know. But it's a bit like trying to work out how the algorithm works, isn't it? We sit there time after and we like I used to get so lost down that deep dark rabbit hole of the algorithm,
Mm.
trying to work out what was going to make it work and what wasn't. But yeah, I kind of had to let that go now because just you can't.
For someone that's been reselling as long as I have, and I think the more you detach yourself from things you can't control, the happier you are as a reseller,
Oh,
right? Like
absolutely, yes.
I learned quite quickly on it, and I think the only person you should be watching in regards to algorithm content is Diary of a Flipper. He has his own alter ego,
Yes,
Al. So,
he does. It's
but
funny.
yeah, because if you start delving too far into algorithms and things you can't change, like if
Mm,
you work out the algorithm, like a lot of people thought they did last year with the end cell similar. I can't speak today, geez. All these different things. You game the
yeah,
algorithm, but it comes and backs and bites you on the back
yeah,
a little bit later on. So float your boat. And my suggestion would be is just to just list things that are in demand and put them on eBay and
mm,
potentially look at somewhere else to put them as well. Facebook
yeah.
Marketplace, websites, all these different things. So
I have to say I've been selling a lot. I sold a lot of vintage books this week, which was very good because that's my, best niche.
hmm.
Um, so that seems to have had a bit of a lift this week. So good.
So in regards to the niches, right, and this is what I want to talk a little bit about today, is that do you think things that you give more attention to or things that you enjoy are better niches for yourself in the sell through rate perspective? Like for example, I hate clothes, and I haven't sold clothes in a long time. Uh, where there's a little toy that I sell, and I sell constantly because I give it the affection, and I could easily
Hmm.
go through my clothes and take better photos, or I could end and sell similar, but because I don't
Yeah.
care about them enough, I just let them sit dormant and go from that perspective. So
Absolutely, 100% agree with you. Yep, because my books do best of anything else because I give it attention more than anything else.
mm,
Jeans second best because I do give it attention and I make sure that I constantly list in that every day, and same with the books. So yeah, definitely.
I kind of think, and and just to we're 5 minutes in, so hopefully we've lost 97% of our audience, and I can say this, but I would, if you are looking to resell, and don't take this to the letter of the law, I would move into a category such as books, such as media, and all these different things. Not that I recommend those. Make it something that everyone can do. Don't
Yep.
go into clothes and start sourcing, size 14 ladies clothes, because you're only limiting yourself to size 14 ladies, right?
Mm.
Or, men's 34, all these different things. If you buy books, if you buy DVD players, if you buy DVDs, buy Blu-rays, all these different things, as long as they've got the contraption to work, as long as they can read, you've got a wider audience from that perspective.
Yes.
So and as much as I say I don't recommend selling books or media and all those different things, I would probably put those above clothes. That's different to like stuff that Judder collects, and Brad and Two Aussie
Mm.
Thrifters and all those different things. So, like team jerseys and stuff like, which has a wider appeal, right? So it doesn't necessarily matter what size it is; they're going to
Yeah.
display it. But like I said, that's my from like I said last week, from jumping on the clothing train. That's my bit of information that I'd probably push across, is just you're really limiting yourself to a segment of the market that can wear those clothes, that are actually looking for those clothes and willing to
Mm.
pay it. So there's a lot of hurdles you need to get through before you can actually convert that to a sale.
Oh, I agree, and that's where I think look, and I do keep saying it of late. Like diversity to me seems to be the key at the moment if you want to, do well. And I think it's for people that actually only sell in one, niche. It's very, very hard. Like as much as I could
Mm.
say, I think still my books were about 59% of my sales in the last week, um, and jeans came in second. So you know, if I took away the other things I sell as well as the books, like I doubt whether I would have sold more books. So yeah, I need that to balance it off. Like you need to have that balance of
Mm.
things, and whether your other categories that you sell in, you can choose to have something that fits with that. So say for example, I try to sell leather belts
Yep.
when I can source them, and that works well because of the jeans and the
Mm.
vintage and all that. So it complements a complementary category, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that's good. And I don't know how well it would work on eBay. Obviously, if we have spoken about it before, and a lot of people have put their 2 cents in, which is always welcome. Yeah, by all means, if we have said something, or if we do say something you don't agree with, put it in the comments section. I'm not going to be offended. Granny doesn't care enough to be offended. So
No.
I'm more than happy to engage on these conversations, especially with people that have actually done it right. So I'll probably give more credence to people that say, "Hey, look, I've run a website, and this is where it's
Yep.
blown up for me," or "I run a website and it's fantastic," or something along the lines of that. But just don't go off hearsay and go, "Oh, it's going to cost you heaps in Google fees and stuff like this," and then you're like, "But I've never ran a website." So my responses will probably be akin to like I'll respond to everyone. But the thing is,
Yeah.
realistically, if we do say something you don't agree with, put it in the comments. I'm happy to have a debate or
Yeah.
conversation. And you might be right. Like, it might be something that I've never considered before, and branch out from that perspective. So,
Yeah, and we always love to get a bit of new information. If someone's got something that they think works above what that's different to what we do,
mm,
it's really, really good to hear that. And yeah, I'm big on sharing. If you've got something like look, you'd been telling me for some time. I know that variation listings were good, but I just ignored that for a couple of years, and then finally decided to do them. And like they're the best thing ever. I love them to death now,
yeah,
and
and there's a lot,
they
yeah.
really, really work.
Yeah, because I even still fight with people in a group chat that I have with variation listings, but variation listings don't work with everything, right? So basically, like we were
No, they
talking about
don't.
before, is that you wouldn't have clothes unless you had different sizes. If you could
Yeah.
had new old stock and you had like sizes 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, and you had like multiple quantities, variation listing would work in that respect, right? But
Yes,
if you're
and
just
I will
selling
say
Levi jeans,
I do have one clothing variation listing because I picked up a whole heap of the white singlets, bond
hmm,
singlets that men wear, and yeah, so instead of doing them each in separate ones or bundling them all up, because people might want to buy two or they might only want to buy one. So I made a variation listing for that one. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's right. And like as long as it's the same quality, like brand new and sealed,
Yep,
or
that's all dead
they're
stock.
very similar. Go for gold. But like I said, I would probably suggest books, series, replenishable series like Goosebumps and Animorphs and Charlotte Harris or whatever you want to do from that perspective, or Star Wars, vintage Star Wars books you come across quite frequently, stuff like that. That's very similar size. Because with what I found with variation listings, and I don't want to harp on about variation listings because I don't want to be the people known for variation listings, but you need to have very similar weighted products, right? So if you're doing books, make sure that they're paperback books that are very similar size, like Goosebumps or like Animorphs, or very small trade backs, paperback books.
Because if you get a big trade back like this, and it's also very thick, and then you try and list that with a tiny small, like as you say, a Goosebump size book, you have to put your weight in to suit the big book so you don't lose money on the postage.
Shipping.
Well, that's not very fair when it comes to the little ones. So
that's right. So the way that I normally do it is I cap my postage at probably $9.99 for variation listings, depending on what it is, right? So when I do variation listings, my variation listings exist for the international market. I don't particularly want to sell it to domestic. I want to sell it to an international market. So I try and do things as light as I can, make them potentially under 100 grams per listing, so per thing, so people can they're encouraged to buy multiple quantities from that perspective. And if, like Leanne was just saying then, if she was trying to sell that book to the States, you'd probably have it as a kilo, because if you don't sell internationally, it's fine, because your postage under variation listing, to my knowledge, from my experience, is capped at a certain rate, right? So if you can put them all in a box, I charge $10. Sometimes I sell a box for $7.12. Other times it's $10.40. So depending on, I'm going to lose in postage, and sometimes and make it up in others' perspectives. However, if someone spends like buys 50 products out of a variation listing, I probably pay $20 in postage, but the profit that I actually get from all those different products moving out the store outweighs that. So don't be put off by variation listings thinking, well, if I only charge $11 postage and the postage comes to $23, but they've spent $600, I've lost $13 in postage.
Yeah, it balances out. And I'm keeping track of my numbers, particularly for this month, and I'm going to do something at the end of the month to show, because it's been a discussion we've had in the Discord too, Grumpy Granny's Discord, if anyone's interested. So like I kept mine at at the moment. I've got some capped at $9.99 and some capped at $11, because they are bigger books. But I say, well, no matter how many books you buy, this is how much your postage will cost if it's within Australia. So that works out really, really well. Where was I going with that? What were we saying? I've lost track of my train of thought. The fireworks affected my brain. I know. But I just find you've got to have that similar item in each. And I've made a separate listing for like trade paperbacks for some of them, because otherwise you are going to end up, losing. You've got to be careful, otherwise you'll end up losing money.
Yeah, and the reason why I say for is because I've got
I know where I was going.
Oh, all right.
Sorry, I know where I was going with that. So the reason I'm keeping track of what's going on with the postage is because we were having that discussion, but won't you lose money if you send that if it's capping it at $9.99 and then I'm sending it to rural? Yes, I lose about 50 cents each time I do that on the postage. However, overall, I do more ones that I send metro than I do regional, and so I want to present the figures exactly to show people what the difference is overall.
That's right. So I suppose my stance from the being in Canberra, anywhere between Canberra to Sydney, like in that, I suppose that scoop, Greater Sydney. It used to be all the way up to Sydney, but now they've changed it. But I normally get a lot of customers from Sydney for some reason. I'm not too sure why. So I pay about $7.12 for a small parcel, right? So from my point of view, and because I've got a gigantic brain and 9 brains in total, is that people would probably be more inclined to look at that $9.99 it's kind of that psychological thing, right? But on the flip side is that if you have products that you can't get anywhere else, people are going to pay whatever postage you need to pay.
Yes.
So don't, if you're sourcing Mills and Boons or you're sourcing Charlene Harris books, for example, which are everywhere, like absolutely everywhere. So you would do yourself a disservice charging $11.99 because people like me would have a $9.99 different thing. But if you have unique products that you can only get from Grumpy Granny, she could charge $20 postage. And if people want that bad enough, they'll pay $20 postage. So you really need to know your market. You need to know what the market's doing. I was big on the free postage train a long time ago. Well, a long time ago, 3 weeks ago. But I have moved across to plus postage. There are a lot of listings in my store that still have free postage, but everything I'm listing from now has that at the very minimum $9.99 postage built on top of that as well. So I do when I do the comps. So for example, I sold a book earlier, which will be out on my video today/2 days ago for the what solds. The comps are about that $54. So I made it $54 plus $10 postage. So and it sold this morning. So don't be, and it's a quite rare book and quite sought after book and all these different things. So, but like I said, don't be scared to do your own thing. Build a reputation for yourself, I suppose, from that perspective. Make your reputation's everything, right? Like I can't stress this enough. Build a business for yourself. Don't try and sell to the top of the market because, like Grumpy Granny and myself, we've said numerous times, if I see a comp for $100, $200, $300, I'll list it at $300, right? If it's sold for $300, I'll list it at $300. I'm not going to, and I mentioned on the Friday Night Live where I bought someone else underneath me just to control the market from that perspective.
Yes.
And I did it last night as well. So someone else popped on it, and I now have 3 copies of this thing. But what I said is I'm trying to make the floor on that listing $200. So if you want that game per se bad enough, you're going to have to pay $200. Now I have 3 copies of that game. You're going to have to pay $600. And especially with Halloween coming up around. So, but
look, I'm a big one on saying don't chase that fight to the bottom of the bloody market because the prices will keep going down if we do that. And so I usually list somewhere in the middle or on the higher end, depending on the condition of my item. And I'm talking sort of more books here as well. But quite often people will have a book. I'll list a book for $30 and some, but most of the other people might be around the same. And then there'll be 1 or 2 that have got like $12 or something. But then have a good look at their condition. And the other thing is 99.9% of the time, those people do not have international shipping.
That's right. And that's another thing
So
I wanted to bring up as well.
I've got the ace there. And I sell things. Like someone bought a book off me last week that I know there weren't very many copies of. I think there was about 3, and mine was the dearest. So why did she buy mine?
So the reason why it comes down to a psychological thing, right? So people attribute cost to quality. So what they normally do is that, with your outliers, right? So $12, $30. Well, that $30 one must be really good quality because the $12 ones, must be really bad. There's a reason why she's charging $30 for, right? Plus, like you said, international. A lot of those people that are raced to the bottom don't have international shipping on because they're quite new. They watch other YouTuber channels saying, "Hey, look, source octopuses." Then basically sell them for this much, and they can't sell them, so they just keep pushing them to the bottom to get out of the game. What I would suggest is build yourself a brand. Make sure your feedback is as close to 100% as it can. Make sure, then go from that perspective, right? So charge higher in the market and all those different things because you can't charge high in the market if you don't have a brand and if your feedback is 40%. If you sold 400 things and you've got a 40% feedback ratio, they are the ones I would suggest, hey, look, try and cut price everything to increase your feedback from that perspective. Know the worth of your brand, know how to do customer service. Like I've had a few things where people have actually reached out to me when I bought off them this week and they've just been phenomenal. Like I don't personally do it. I used to do it when I first started where I would reach out to people and try and upsell them or ask them if they had any questions. I've come to the realization that a lot of customers, they don't want to hear from you, right? So I get annoyed if I buy Domino's pizza, for example, and they start sending me text messages saying, "Hey, how would you rate your pizza?" And the pizza was mediocre. Not that I would, but that's when you're kind of inviting that
Mm-hmm.
negative feedback or those problem children, right? So if they're even slightly inconvenienced or they're lonely and they want someone to whinge and bitch about, now you've got a new best friend, and I've had that in the past, right? Whereas I've reached out, hi Leanne, I know she bought this thing today. It's going out today, no worries. And if you have any problems, let me know. Okay, cool. Then then I noticed it got delivered. Hey Leanne, I noticed it got delivered. Is everything all right? Then you'll start talking to me about your cat, and then you'll start talking to me about the soup you had for lunch, all these different things. This is an
I don't
actual
have
story,
time for
right?
that. Ugh.
But that's what I'm saying is that there
Mm.
was a theory going around a couple of years ago on Facebook, on the YouTube videos for reselling, is that when someone contacts you, you always had to be the last piece in that communication because that's
Mm.
eBay likes you talking to them, all those different things. So
Yep.
if you get a lonely person, then you keep
I know.
corresponding with them, they'll just keep going and going and going. And I have
Yeah.
had email trails like 40 conversation lines long on the back of a $6 free shipping video game or something along this years ago. So
I do have to say though, if you do have someone that does keep trying to have a discussion with you, if you then reply to one of theirs with a smiley face emoji or something like that, it tends to stop the conversation. That works, I will say.
where's my smiley face? We'll look for it down here somewhere. So,
Yeah,
like I said,
you would actually have to use an emoji, Octo, because you
yeah, I
don't
was
have
going to
one.
say, yeah,
Mm.
that's right. But that's what it really comes down to, right? Is this that build yourself a brand? And a lot of people that I see in Facebook groups and all these different things, and I know I have said it about it previously, is that what my suggestion to those people would be is to learn your niche, learn what you're selling. Don't go start doing a mad shop at the op shop at the thrift stop. Basically drag everything into your trolley and hope for the best. Build your brand. If it's Instagram or you don't have to do YouTube. You just basically build a brand from that perspective, punch it across, and go from that perspective. Being known for that
Mm.
person that sells that product and all those different things. So
Yeah.
it's just crazy.
Well, I
I
mean,
think.
that's how you get repeat sales, isn't it? People will come
Mm,
back, and
mm,
that's one of the things. People, I have arguments all the time over this, over how I ship my books.
mm,
But how I ship my books works. They get there very safely, and
mm.
I have feedback after feedback after feedback of people saying that how wonderful, I wrapped their parcels, say, right? So, and that's great. And they will come back again to my store. They are either are or will be a repeat customer.
Yeah.
And, that makes me happy. And that's my brand that I've
Well,
created. That's what I do.
that's exactly right. So when I used to sell Lego many, many years ago, I had the same thing because I would like bubble wrap the sets, then put brown paper on them, and never had an issue. And I was selling a
Mm,
fair bit of Lego, right? And then I would put on a video or put a photo on Instagram or something along the way I wrap Lego, and I'd have all these people popping up. You can't send Lego like that'll get damaged and all these different things. Yes, I know, and I sell Lego to collectors, right? I'm not.
mm,
I don't shortchange it, and this is something I want to talk about as well. Is don't be tight. You be very,
yep.
very. If you're new, obviously try and be as thrifty as you can. But as you build as a brand, I'm willing to forego a couple of dollars of profit. If I'm making $20 profit, I'm willing to spend $2 or $3 extra in packaging materials to
Yep.
make sure that product is served properly. Because like you said, they're going to become a repeat customer.
Mm.
They're going to come back and they're happy with the product. If you send it in a nappy box or something along the lines of that with used nappies around it,
Well, the pizza
um,
box. Yep.
well, the pizza box and all these different things. And I had
Mm.
a parcel arrive early this week that, it was an Australia Post box that's been recycled about 19 times because I could see the labels over the previous addresses like 4 or 5 times, which is fantastic as long as that box
Yep.
has got integrity. But by the time it got
Mm.
to me, it was probably on its last legs. So I did recycle it. So you can
Mm.
go from that way. So, but
Well, I did send an interesting parcel out on Monday, and
hmm,
not yesterday, the Monday before, and that was someone had the buyer was from America, but they'd
hmm,
purchased a book that was being sent to someone in Western Australia, and that was her sister.
yep,
And the person said to me, "Could I wrap the book up because it was a book? Wrap the book up." And put a note on it, do not open until your birthday. And then she also gave me a note that she wanted me to write inside on a card in the book, wishing her sister happy birthday. So I have a stash of really cheap cards that I've gotten like from
yep,
the reject shop and stuff really cheap here. So I got one of those out, did some lovely handwriting because the nuns taught me to write really nicely, and wrote her message out, wrapped that all up. But when I wrapped it up in birthday paper. I have some paper here that says, it's just silver paper with white happy birthday written on it. So it's unisex. Wrapped it all up and took some photos of that, sent that to the buyer so that they could see what I've done, and they were over the moon. Now she's in America. She may come back to me again next time she needs to send something to her sister or buy something for herself because I just made that little effort.
Yeah, and I can guarantee that they probably won't, right? So the return customers on people like that won't come back. But but I agree 100% with you. So before you start lashing me, but this is what I agree with, right? Is that I used to do that exactly right. So when I was selling a lot of Lego, I would have a message from a grandmother or someone else saying, "Hey, look, this is my grandson. Can you please wrap it up and put a card on it and say happy birthday from Nana?" I could have easily said, "No, I'm not interested in doing that."
Yep.
I didn't charge any extra. Like on occasions, very, very few occasions, I might come back and say, "Hey, look, if I give you $20 extra, can you do this?" Yeah, I would do it for free, right?
Yep.
It happens very, 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 very seldom. I would suggest you entertain it because you're building that customer base. You're doing that above and beyond from that perspective, right? So, I've like I said, I've had transactions. You can go to my eBay store and work out how many transactions I've had, right? Probably out of that, I can probably count on 8 tentacles of how many times I've actually had someone reach out to me and ask me to wrap it and put a card in and all these different things. Like Grumpy Granny was saying, I went to Big W one day. They were clearing out their cards. I'm talking about like Frozen cards, Spider-Man, all these different things for little kids, right? Probably under 10, Mickey Mouse, all these different things for 5 cents each. So I just grabbed the lot. I think I came home with about 400 cards for $10 or whatever it worked out to be. They're the ones, like you said, I put them with my kids. If my kids go to birthday parties, they're getting a bit older for them now, but I normally put those on there. So if someone asks me to wrap it, we've got lots of birthday wrapping paper here. I'm not going to do it pristine, like in the sense of I'm not going to do a shabby job, but I'm not going to do it like as if it's professionally wrapped. I wrap things pretty well, right? But I'm not going to make it look like it's been on bloody Antique Roadshow or something like this.
Well, that's right. I wasn't going to go and do the whole wrap it with a ribbon on top of that.
No, it was ribbon on stuff along
thing. And the paper I had was just, I think I might have got it at Aldi actually, and I saw it there and I thought, oh, if I ever have to send someone a parcel, that'll work out well. So I got it. It's been sitting there for 18 months, and that's the first time I've used it.
That's
but
right.
that person and that person that receives it, word of mouth spreads.
That's exactly right. And that's when I would actually put in a business card. So if you have a business card, for Grumpy Granny, and I've probably spoken about this before, is that if you sell books, make a bookmark business card. Make a little pretty one that basically, if Granny lives on a farm or if she lives in Donald, have something with that kind of scenery in the background that, that sells from that perspective. Because her store, Groggy's Patch, is that what it's still called?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
the patch, you think of Veggie Garden.
My store is actually called Grumpy Granny's World of Wonders, I think, at the moment. But I'm going to change it to Grumpy Granny's World to match everything else.
Yeah, so but like play on that thing, right? So from my perspective, I could make a key, a bookmark that looked like a tentacle, right, or something. Tentacle Granny, keep your man out of the gutter. But something along that. Play with your store. So, use them if you are selling books and all these different things. Have your QR code in the back and have your little website in the back or something like this. People are lazy. I'd suggest QR codes or something that they can scan, push it straight back to your store. But like you're saying, if someone has wrapped this book, they're not going to come back. I can tell you right now. Like the ones that I've basically spent probably 5 minutes extra wrapping the present, making it look nice. Never heard from them again. Like half the time, they didn't even leave feedback. So it was pretty much the standard you walk past is the standard you accept, right? So in the sense of saying, hey, look, I can do this, then you have the ability to do that in the future. Like if every second order came through and say, hey, look, I don't have the capacity to do that, or I will add a variation listing, to basically say, hey, look, if you want wrapping paper, plus $20 or something like that. So, you collect that variation if you want that wrapped or something like that.
Yeah. Because if you stick to the theory of you want your customer to receive the parcel exactly how you would like to receive it if you'd bought it or were receiving it, you can't go wrong.
No. And yes, I know that, like, Amazon, my sister-in-law, sends the kids parcels from Amazon. She uses the gift wrapping. So they just print off a little piece of paper that says, happy birthday, Leanne, from Octo, and they put it in like a little gift bag. That's fine. Like I said, you're paying for that service, right? You probably pay $5 extra. And I know when you order from Walmart, when you order from Target or Kmart or wherever you order from, they don't have the option for gift wrapping and stuff like this. Realistically, what I would suggest is that moving into a topic I want to talk about in short a little bit later, but I'll tie it in now. If you are making your own website or you are selling from that perspective, this is the thing that you would go out of your way to wrap that parcel for. Yeah, if you are selling in a niche, for books, for example, vintage books, Grumpy Granny's World's collection of vintage books, do that extra step, market it from that perspective, because then when they arrive, they know you're legitimate. You've taken that extra effort to do those different things. You put a postcard, you put your bookmark in there, all these different things. You, like I said, if you made $20 profit on that book, you're wasting $5 in materials, but it's free advertising, right?
Yep.
Make a fridge magnet. When I used to sell Lego, I used to put fridge magnets in there because business cards get thrown out. Fridge magnets, this is cool. I'll stick it on the fridge. So,
True.
and from that perspective, so there's all these different ways you can forego. Like I said, if you do have a very healthy profit margin, which I suggest that don't sell, don't buy books for $1 and try and sell them for $4.99 plus post, because you really don't have the fat to move there. Especially when people start undercutting, you're probably going to be in a world of hurt. But if you do have that profit, that healthy profit margin, start separating yourself from your peers, because, and this is what I want to. I know I've probably said this about 18 times this video already, but I want to stream it out a little bit. So last night, Saturday night, if you're watching this, when it comes out on Tuesday.
Sorry, when was that? Sorry, I'm just a bit confused. When are we talking about?
So we're talking about the streaming. So last night, we're recording on Sunday. So Saturday night, I streamed Skylanders to my channel. So what I did is I was doing some video, and I thought, well, I'm testing these Skylanders out. I might as well stream this to YouTube. So then when I went on YouTube got my little tentacles out and typed in, how to stream on YouTube from Xbox, Series X and all these different things, I worked out where you couldn't actually do it. So you had to go through Twitch, and I didn't even know. I knew what Twitch was, but I've never used Twitch in any capacity, right? So then I found a program that
even Grumpy Granny knows what Twitch is, and I've never used it, but I do know what it is. Yeah.
Well, this is what happens when you keep your head under the sand and pretty much the rest of your body on the bottom of the ocean. So, like I said, I streamed from the Xbox to Twitch. Then I found a program that will basically push your Twitch stream across to YouTube. And from that perspective, so what my plan is in regards to this, long story short, is to move that streaming. I put it on the Disgruntled Octopus channel, just primarily for a multitude of reasons. Just to see if it works.
Put it on your other one.
I couldn't put it on my other channel because I didn't do it. But I wasn't going to say that because of my incompetence. But it worked. It worked out pretty well, actually. So I did work out what the limitations of the thing was. There wasn't many, so it worked out pretty well from that perspective. But the end game of what I was doing that for is to actually sell products to a niche. So what I'm going to do is actually try and build. I do have an Octopus channel called Octo's 8-Bit Gaming Dreams, or 8-Bit Dreams, or something along that. And so that's where I'm going to stream all the Skylander content to in future.
And he will put the name of that channel in his description.
Yeah, probably not. That's right. So I will put it in there. But what it is I want to try and build an audience that's, resellers are welcome. However, it's not catered towards reselling, right? So I want people that, obviously want to engage from the Skylanders because they love Skylanders. They want to watch me play Skylanders and all these different things. However, I'm marketing my products to them. And I've put in the description of the video last night, if you liked any of the Skylanders or the Skylanders you watched me play tonight are available for sale on my eBay store. So what I'm doing is I'm actually pushing them from that stream across. So I'm not monetized on the other channel. So, it's going to be a very long time before I become monetized and get some financial gain from that YouTube channel. But I'm testing these Skylanders. I might as well make it a funnel to make extra money. So basically...
Exactly. Well, it's not taking... Well, it's maybe taking you an extra 5 minutes to set up the live stream, but essentially you're going to do that anyway. You're going to play the games anyway, so why not?
Because what I normally do with Skylanders is I open it up, play on the first level, then I put the Skylander on the little portal, see if it works, cool, test it, and then I put it in its bag, right? But what I did last night is I actually played through the game, and I had Christian in there, I had Hilly in there, all these different things. And say, hey, look, this is what Skylanders is. I never knew Skylanders was like this. So there is a demographic for that game, right? And people will just watch games and all these different things, but. Then I've said numerous times before, if you are looking at doing that stuff, have stuff that's exclusive to the country you're in. So, in Australia, we have a lot of, especially those toys that are exclusive to Australia or very, 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 very insanely hard to get outside of Australia, right? If I start showcasing them, they're like, oh, the octopus that I watch on YouTube or on Twitch, whatever it is, because it goes across to Twitch as well, has that character. I'll jump into the eBay store and buy it, right? So and then what I'm doing is I'm actually also I'm showing you that the character works.
Yeah.
So, you're not taking my word for it. So basically you're seeing it on screen. And, if you want, say, hey, Leanne might reach out to me and say, hey, look, I watched you on the stream tonight. I really want that little blue octopus that's behind me. Can you nickname him Octo? Yeah, and you can build your audience from this perspective, right? Because I renamed one of the characters to the Disgruntled Octopus and wouldn't let me do that, so I just had to call him Octo Buckler. But the thing is, that if I nickname them that, then I send it to Leanne. That gives her that connection between her and I. She watches me on stream. She's got a character that's called Octo now, and all these different things. Like very small things. It takes me 2 seconds to do. That I'll probably get a lifelong viewer from that live stream because I've nicknamed it, which has taken me 2 seconds to do, and they've seen the character working. So, like I said, these are the things you need to think outside the box. You need to bring that across. And later on, I will probably progress that to a different thing that I spoke about Leanne today about. I'm not announcing that yet, but I will announce it. You probably guessed where I'm going with this.
And while we're on this topic, before we do move off it, and catering to your audience, one of the things to remember too, you were talking about putting your business cards in your parcels to help promote things, and if I was going to do a bookmark, but I do have to say, you need to be aware of the age of your market. So, for example, if you're selling something that people that are 50, I'm going to say 50 up, maybe, or even 60 up, are going to be buying, perhaps don't put a QR code, put a web link, because, as much as I know what a QR code is, I had a friend of mine that one popped up. She was trying to connect to Paramount Plus, and the QR code came up. She had no idea what to do with it, and oh my God. So I had to go through step by step and explain it all to her and guide her through the process. And I just think there is there are segments of people out there that maybe don't know that, whereas some of the younger people would love to have that, and they can just, scan the QR code. Just saying.
All right, I'm going to fight that point. if there's anything, I'm actually going to edit that bit out of the video because I disagree with Granny so much. Like, it repulses me. So if you take one word away from that, one sentence or one thing away from this episode, delete what you just said. Put your QR code on those things, because I'm telling you right now, people like that, no offense to your friend Granny, is that they are the people that you get when you sell, $4.99 free shipping DVDs. They're the ones that create the problems, all these different things. They're the ones that will reach out to you and say, hey, look, I've got this thing. I don't know what's going on, all these different things. You want to get rid of those people. If they're not smart enough to use a QR code, get rid of them. Like I said, that I'm completely serious here in the sense of saying, hey, look, because and taking Leanne's friend out of there, because I'm not dismissing her, but realistically, you want to get a clientele that is quite tech savvy. If I typed in,
yes, this is true.
But if you type in a business card, right? Like, I can't click my finger on a business card to redirect it to my eBay store, right? Or my tentacle. But this is what it comes down to, right? So, but you might have to say, if you are selling vintage books and your demographic is 80 plus or something like that, maybe put on your business card, just point your camera at this and we'll come to my eBay store. Put a line in there.
True. But, I guess that's probably a good point. But it was just my point being mindful of, if you are selling stuff that is going to be going to a vintage audience,
Yeah, and like I said, I'm not disputing that. Like, I'm not doing those different things. But as much as I take the piss and all those different things, but don't deviate away from your brand, because those people that might know what a QR code might be 1 out of 100 for your customer base, right? Do not cater to that 1 out of 100. Cater towards because if they're smart enough to get onto eBay, they're probably quite tech savvy, right? So they probably found your listing via Google. The likelihood of them coming back is probably non-existent, right? Because they're only after that one book because their departed husbands had it, or the departed wife had it, and that reminds them of them, and they're one and done kind of thing, right? So if you are selling in a niche like plush toys or books or something along the lines of that, and the outliers of the 80-year-old people that come in, but you mostly sell to 18 to 40 or 18 to 50.
Well, yes,
cater to that.
Different. That is different. But I mean, I'm just saying, if you're predominantly selling to an older market, just take whatever you put on your card and how you present things. Take that into consideration.
Yeah, well, that's right. Yeah,
Because
like I said,
a lot of them are just technically ignorant, really.
yeah, that's right. But I suppose that they're going to be dead soon. So let's get rid of them.
Oh, nice,
I
nice.
don't know how many 80-year-old people can swim. So
Oh,
I'll leave
yeah.
it at that.
Oh, God. You
It
didn't
looks like
have
the water's lapping.
control of the screen. I could, fifth you off the screen for a minute. Yeah.
I was about to say I could
In
see
the
the water
naughty
lapping
box.
behind you. Speaking
Yeah.
of which, I have been watching a lot of content, and I did mention last week in regards to the different stances that Leanne has. Obviously with her channel primarily dealing with how-to videos and more towards that beginner market and all these different things, where I'm more, I suppose, self-professed intermediate. So basically towards those people who are probably looking to branch out from eBay and all those different things, which is, there's nothing wrong if you're one way or the other. But I have been watching a lot of content from this YouTuber. I'm not going to pronounce his name. So this is the video here. It's PokeyNE, because NE stands for
Right.
the place he comes from, right? It must be New England or something like that. So I would strongly
That's
suggest, and I will put,
isn't it?
PokeyNE. It's basically he pronounces it because he owns his own
Okay.
Pokemon shop and does obscene amounts of money in Pokemon sales. So obviously he said
Right.
his profit margin is about that 10 to 15%, but he does about I think 15, like $1.5 million, $2 million a year in sales of Pokemon
Wow.
cards and all these
So
different
his
things.
volume.
Yeah, so he's more volume based, right? And that's not
Yeah.
the reason why I'm just going to get rid of the screen now. So I'm going to put his description, his stuff in the description below, along with my Octo's 8-bit dreams. However, but the point of the matter is, I'm not going to sell Pokemon cards. I've got no interest in Pokemon cards. I don't even know what I'm looking at. But he is phenomenal for business advice. So basically, what you listen to him, and hopefully we can provide little tidbits of information in our respect as well, is that what he talks about in Pokemon cards is transferable to every facet of business, right? Like he is so, he's very blunt, he's very dry, he's very monotone. I should probably go from that perspective. He's not a very excitable person like me. He doesn't fire his tentacles around in the air, but he is phenomenal. Like, he had a couple of, I probably spent 6 hours on his video yesterday. So there is a YouTuber in the YouTube space that parades around that's selling $1 million of product a year and how fantastic he is. This guy is the real deal. Like, I can't stress this enough. If you want to get rid of the garbage and the bravado and the ego and all these different things, watch this guy. He'll basically tell you how blunt to run any business. So I would strongly suggest you don't waste your time on people telling you how fantastic they are and flick their tentacles around telling you how pretty they are and all these different things. If you want to know how to business, watch this. So that is fantastic. And like, he doesn't charge paywalls. He doesn't charge all these different things. And it's very similar to my sense. He does have a channel membership, which I haven't joined, but he basically says, hey, look, 90% of the people I tell this stuff to aren't going to act upon it. And this is why I talk about stuff where I talk about, and I have had people reach out to me before saying, oh, you're destroying this market, you're destroying that market. People, as soon as they come across the first hurdle, and this is what he said as well, is that they don't progress. It's too hard. Like finding a box for a certain thing, oh, it's too hard. Or, like a book that's a weird shape, oh, it's too hard. I'm going to leave it in my death pile. It'll just eventually get redonated or thrown out at some point, right? So he is, like I said, if you are in that 10% or you are inclined to, branch out or work out what you want to do, it's fantastic. He actually walks you through how to make a website to sell Pokemon cards, which, like I said, it could be transferable to anything. You could sell plush and all these different things. So the amount of knowledge in that video is phenomenal. He's quite low on subscribers. He's got about 25,000 subscribers. I know I said that's low, but in comparison to other channels. But like I said, I can't stress enough, if you are looking at making this a business or like a full-time business or some sort of revenue-generating business, fantastic. I don't recommend people very often, but I would wholeheartedly recommend him. So
okay, I'll definitely give him
is
a watch.
fantastic. Definitely give him a watch. And I'll put it I'll send you the link after we finish here. But
all right. So what other content have you been watching this week, Octo?
I haven't really watched that much, actually. I've moved away from reselling content. I suppose that I have moved on to probably podcasts. Q4 is when, I don't muck around, right? So Q4 is more what we are in now. So it's October to December, not September to December, like I said to Wayno many moons ago. Poor Wayno. He hasn't been back since. I've confused him.
Yes.
But so like in December, that Q4 period, I literally put my foam nose to the grindstone and go for gold. So I ingest a lot more content that is more business generation. Give me that
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose that dopamine hit. I suppose it's the best way.
Yeah.
Like
Keep you
through the
enthused.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah, so through the years, I normally probably watch a lot of videos that say, "Hey, look, my sales are down," or I'm being, I've got a negative feedback. Woe was me, kind of thing from that perspective. So I normally gravitate to like Josh Galt. I normally gravitate to podcasts. If anyone does watch the Business to Banter podcast, Sam and Hanley, I think her name is. Please reach out to them and just politely don't say I don't want this to be taken to the wrong way. Hanley, if please pass it on Hanley, get her to fix her audio. I don't know what she's doing. I don't know how she's doing it, but her audio needs to be rectified. I think that they're fantastic, right? I have had a few people reach out to me upon my suggestion because I did I gave them a bit of a shout out last week, and they said that lady's audio is echoey, or I won't say what
I'll
they
say
said.
screechy.
Yeah, so it's not her voice. She's South African living in Scotland. It's nothing to do with her accent, and it's nothing to do with
No.
that. I think she's sitting in a warehouse or something like that, and the sound's reverberating or bouncing off or something along lines to that. So by all means, if you do watch the channel and you do know Hadley or you do know Sam, please pass on to my message. It's a sincere one. It's not taking a swipe. Please fix your audio. I don't know what you need to do because, like I said, that I quite enjoy that podcast. I listen to it on a weekly basis. Like I said, I normally gravitate towards those kind of information. Like if it's some clown that basically dribbles about how fantastic he is, egotistical for 2 hours flat, I won't watch that because I've got enough. I could just watch my own videos for 3 days and get myself revenue from that perspective. But like I said, is that content. Yeah, where I watch, Kevin the Commonwealth Picker, Josh Galt, the podcast that he's on, all those different things because they are good and they give you some motivation, give you some tips and tricks for this time of the year. So
and I think most of us do. You like to have something going on in the background while you're working, and it just keeps your mind on the job. But you've also got it's not dead space because dead space is bad, especially when you've got ADHD. Because why? Because you start thinking up something else that you could be doing instead of what you actually should be doing.
Yeah, so yesterday I did promise Mrs. Octopus that I'd clean the garage up. So we currently stand, the card's sitting at the front, and I went on my little side quest. Instead of cleaning up the garage, I went on a different thing. So I did put on Facebook Marketplace. I think I mentioned it earlier that I had a bunch of consoles that I don't want anymore because they do work. They're my testing consoles, and I put them up for a pretty decent price. I had no bites, so they're sitting on the ground because I took photos of them. So now I'm going to have to put them back on the shelf and all those different things. So, like I said, it's not going to take me. It's going to take me 15 seconds. But the problem is, though, Leanne, is that it will take me literally 2 minutes to put all the stuff back away. So I don't know why, what the issue is. So
it's so I did find out the other day that it is apparently it's an ADHD thing that you like to have things in front of you. So you like to be able to see the things that you're actually dealing with. So I think while you've got that listed on Facebook Marketplace, you're probably wanting to have them there so that you can, have them out in front of you. Don't ask me why that is, but something in our brains.
Yeah, to me, I think what it was that it was more along the lines of that cash capital, that really, what do they call it? Cash flow kind of thing. Because like I said, I've sold a lot of, I bought a lot of a certain product online, which I source due to the sourcing method I use, and I did mention it on Friday night, is that I have to pay up a very lot of money to get these things. They're very high profit margin, and I did show Leanne a little bit before the show of what I paid compared to what they're selling for. It's astronomical, right? I almost just created my own word there. However, I do pay high. I'm not going to the op shop and buying $1 or $2 for these things, right? So I'm paying quite high for them.
Yeah.
So what I was going to do is try and basically recycle a little bit of that cash flow from the Facebook sales and stuff like that. But I did have probably $1,200 worth of eBay stuff listed for $300, no bites. But this morning I just spent an hour testing all the PS2 games and all these different things, and I'll probably put it on a bundle for $400 or $450 on eBay later on. So, and it will probably sell pretty quick as well because there's some really top-notch games there. So,
yeah. You always need to have one decent thing in a bundle, don't you, to sort of encourage them to buy.
Yeah, so what I suggest is that if you are looking at Facebook Marketplace, and we've only got a retention rate about 3.5% when we get this far in the episode, but look on Facebook Marketplace. Don't look at the bundle entirely. From yesterday, and I showed Leanne yesterday, is that Where I put it? Oh, here it is. So I came across a bundle on Facebook Marketplace for $100. This game was in it. So this is called Obscure. Very similar to Silent Hill, and Silent Hill 2 just came out last week. And what's coming up at the end of the month, Leanne?
Halloween.
That's right. So, these are the things you need to be looking out for, right? So if it's a Christmas game, or it's a Halloween game, all these different, like survival horror, all those different things. So that's what drew me to the game. I listed that game. I think the current sits around about 150 to 200. I listed at 200 because I use keywords like Halloween, survival horror, all those different things. Then the rest of that bunch, like that bundle I was just talking about, will go into on eBay for $400. I paid $100 for everything. So, like I was saying, is that don't necessarily dismiss something for the sake. $100. Oh my god, that's $100. Jump at it. Like work out what you need to do. But going back to that is you need to know what you're actually buying. Don't go start randomly buying things. So.
Yes. Especially if you are paying up, make sure that you know what it's worth, what you're going to be able to flip it for. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Like I said, it comes with time. That's probably the easiest way to put it, right? So you will eventually, you do it enough, you'll do all these different things. If you are brand new, I would strongly suggest sticking to your house. Like, the stuff that you have that obviously make sure it's still usable. Don't go buying, trying to sell off your pair of shoes, your running shoes that you've had for 3 years that you've ran 400 kilometers in.
Oh yes, don't sell your well-worn. You can sell well-worn shoes. They do sell, but don't.
Yes, but like all lines, like if you've got video games, like I opened the drawer the other night for the kids have got like 400 bloody Switch games that they've never played, half for the last 2 or 3 years. Christmas is coming up, so put those on Facebook, on eBay, and all those different things. Or if you need quick money,
Yes,
put it
but
on.
I bet if you say to the kids, "Come on, kids, I'm going to sell all these," they're going to go, "No, but I play that one."
No,
But
I'm not.
no.
I won't tell them. I won't tell them. Like I
No,
said,
but
I
I
know
think
that.
I'm saying if you ask them, they
Yeah,
would.
well, that's right. So, like I said, don't ask them. Don't sell them things that they play religiously. Like, my kids play Minecraft and they play Mario, but they've got obscure games in there that they probably haven't played. Or if you're smart enough, do what I do: is source Switch games on eBay, on Facebook Marketplace. Get the kids to play them until they're bloody sick of them. Put them back on eBay, make a profit. Cycle through that from that perspective.
Absolutely.
Do not pay retail costs. Like, I used to be big for it. I would wait for a game to be released, go to EB Games or Games. I think GameStop in America, pay $120, $100, whatever it was, retail, play it for probably 15 minutes, never play it again. So now I'll wait 6 months or wait a couple of weeks, depending on how quickly someone is motivated to sell it on a Facebook Marketplace. I'll probably get it for bloody a third of the cost. And it's like practically brand new. So strongly suggest that. And you can also source for Christmas if you have kids for Facebook Marketplace. Make sure that they look after their stuff. Because realistically, if you go to Big W, you go to Walmart, the stuff on the shelf, like the game on the shelf, the box is primarily the box you're going to get, right? So people are handling that, moving it around, showing people, the box is not pristine, right?
Yep.
Like where I normally go, they put the game disc in there and you go home. How's it any different to someone that's bought it from brand new from EB Games on the launch day? They you played it a couple of times, put it on the ground, then they haven't played it again. So if you're getting it for a third of the price, you're laughing.
Absolutely. And in all honesty, the kids don't care. Like, they just want the game to work. They don't actually care whether if there's a tiny little mark at the top of the case. So
no, that's right. Obviously, everyone is different, all those different things. But I know some people that I've spoken to that I've sold some of my games from, like Xbox 360 games, which is probably 3 generations behind now. Is that? And I said to her, why are you buying this? I can't remember how the conversation came up, but they say that they keep their kids a couple of generations behind so they can get really cheap games for them. So that they think that the latest console is the Xbox 360 or the PlayStation 3, even though the PlayStation 5's out, because they can get cheap games and they don't know any different because they're young enough to to not care or not even
know.
Yes. But like I said, it really comes down to, I prefer to buy off collectors or people that look after their stuff. Check, especially if you are buying older video games like disc games, check because they're probably scratched to buggery and priced accordingly. So the games that I tested this morning, with the exception of that game I just showed there, that looks like it's been used once and never touched again. A lot of them have scratches, all these different things. So that there are definitely in that acceptable pile, but they all work. So, someone might want to pick them up and resurface them and all those different things. But
that's the important thing. Do they work?
But I would not have paid more than $100 for that. It was a steal for 30 games, and a PlayStation Slim was a steal, right? But that could have easily been just a PlayStation Slim with 30 games that don't work because they're all scratched to the shithouse, which would have been on the other way. So that would have been a waste of money. But
True. Yes.
cool. Anyway, I think that's enough for us. What are your plans for this weekend, Leanne?
So I'm actually making a Halloween video for my Let's Read Granny channel, which is featuring a Grumpy Granny and the new talking animated
Ooh,
octopus.
that's right. Quite
Octo
handsome,
the
that little
Octopus.
chap.
He is handsome, and he's got some new costume. He's wearing his Halloween pirate costume, and we're going to the haunted house.
Ooh, very good. That's good.
Mm.
I quite enjoy a haunted house. I will be doing
Like,
my What Sold video this week, so I'll be filming that this afternoon. So for the 2.5 people that are probably stuck around this long, it's more of a case, and I think I have said previously, I don't do my top 10 sales or top 8 sales for the week because it's boring to me, right? Like, I'm more or less those obscure things that you probably come across at the op shop or the thrift store, and you're like, I'd never have thought of that. I've got a couple today that actually, and they don't have to be high price items, right? They don't have to be phenomenal amounts of money. It's just one of those things that kind of like, what? You can sell that? I sold a couple of those today. So, but anyway, well, thank you very much for watching. Like I said before, if you do talk to Sam or Henley on a very regular basis or semi-regular basis, please pass on our remarks regarding the audio. Like I said, it's a fantastic show. I do quite enjoy it.
Content is excellent, but it is a put off.
Yeah, and this is coming from someone that did have a lot of audio issues in our very, very, very start of our podcast, and I did have a lot of comments in the comment section saying I sounded like I was underwater. So I did get a microphone, and I have done numerous things, and it doesn't cost very much to get, like a semi-decent microphone just from that perspective. No. So, but anyway, that's us for another week, and we'll catch you next week.
Hooroo!
Bye. I don't know how to edit these things. These are crap this time. So maybe keep waving.